out to be completely unreliable assholes.
Step into a Slim Tim. Good morning.
Hello. Am I very lit with red scary light?
Yeah, the lights are off.
Good.
It's more orange purple.
Damn it.
What are you doing? Why are the lights off? Why are you lit funny? What's going on?
I'm just trying to set the mood here, man. Set the mood for our discussion.
For our discussion today, for episode 37. Gotta write it down here. 37 of Dismembering Horror.
Wow.
Welcome everyone to episode 37 of Dismembering Horror, the podcast show where myself, Ryan McDuffie, and
myself, Tim Aslin,
we sit and talk and break down what worked for us, what did not work for us, and anything interesting or noteworthy in a horror film that we've been wanting to see, or ideally you wanted us to talk about. Yes, right, Tim? What are you doing?
I'm just thinking, God, we've done 37 of these?
We're doing 30.
Oh, well, I guess, yeah. We've done 36.
We got to make it to the end here.
Crazy. Who would have thunk?
I don't know.
Well, I guess we did.
I mean, just time flies, right? When you're having fun watching horror movies.
Yep. Good for us.
As I'm not able yet to follow up on what I thought of the last two Paranormal Activity films from last week. I still have to watch them, but I haven't forgotten.
Man. Well,
just haven't been watching.
You got to get into it.
I haven't been watching so much.
I feel like you're implying that you've had other things to do, which I do not believe.
You mean besides watching Paranormal Activity?
How dare you?
Was it 5 and 6?
It's the ones that have like extra names on them.
Yeah.
You know, because they're so far into it, they have to start.
Well, I like for
the
series. I mean, the series that we're watching. We just watched the first film in a series, which keeps the titles. Which keeps the titles simpler. It's Wrong Turn 1, Wrong Turn 2, Wrong Turn 3.
What a discovery to find out that there are like 7 of them.
I think there might be 8. Too.
Oh my God.
I'm hoping there are 8. So yeah, this was actually originally this film, like Wrong Turn was kind of a favorite of mine, like when it came out in high school, like me and my friends.
Oh my God.
And so I thought I'd always wanted, been curious what Wrong Turn 2 was. So I wanted to use this show as an excuse to watch it. And then I think you saw that, or no, it was my friend who was kind of like, no, I'd rather, have you guys talk about the less obscure ones. It's kind of like, that's, the only kind of the limited audience feedback we've gotten. So I'm like, okay, when we pull Wrong Turn 2, let's just pretend like the 2 isn't there.
Sure.
But now it's like, okay, from now on that stays in there, and now it just goes back in the hat as Wrong Turn 2.
But then if we pull it, it turns into Wrong Turn 3.
Yep.
Oh God, and so on and so forth.
Because I'm kind of obsessed with watching through,
just like this movie.
Yeah.
We're just setting up so many wrong turns. So many of them.
So what was the first wrong turn in our wrong turn of Wrong Turn?
Oh, God. Thinking that anybody but Eliza Dushku was worth watching in this movie.
Hey, Jeremy Sisto. I'm a fan of his.
He's all right. He's all right.
I don't know. He's good. Well, should we get into more of it?
Are we writing? What do we do now? Rate or summarize?
Well, we start with the trailer, then we go into a summary.
Yeah, let's watch the trailer.
All right.
Cool.
Okay.
I bet it's so good.
You hadn't guessed already, this week's film is Wrong Turn.
Hello? We're lost. We're looking for a phone. Sweetheart,
Baby, seriously, this isn't funny.
Oh boy.
That trailer has 5 million views.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, Ryan.
That trailer was kind of especially bad, or was it just me?
I think it's the movie.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah. But like,
There's so much going on in this era
yeah.
that I think is worth, picking at a little bit.
Well, there was hardly any dialogue in the trailer, which what does
true.
that speak to?
Yeah. Well, yeah. No kidding.
Okay, the
No
summary.
kidding.
Do you want to do the summary? Should we do the summary? I have a summary.
You have one?
Yeah.
Okay, go for it.
But I think that I'm gonna want your
Okay,
addition
I've got
to it.
a summary. Ready? Captain, I only have one face. Has to take a detour, and he crashes into Eliza Dushku's face, and then the ugly faces of inbred people attack them. The end.
Great. Mine is 3 mute brothers are listening to their Victrola and enjoying their lunch when 4 entitled out-of-towners break into their family cabin homestead, steal their truck, and after a deadly day-long cat-and-mouse chase, return to the home and blow it up with the brothers inside.
So it's
Or they get blown up inside.
Yeah. It's a home invasion.
The subject reversed in that. I apologize.
It's such a home invasion movie, and the victim. It's not a victimless crime. Let's just say
just a bunch of mute people.
It's a bunch of
trying to listen to their music.
Rich, pretentious, douchey kids. Douchey kids just shaming people for not looking good like they do. This movie's all about shaming people who live in the woods.
Yeah, and so.
How dare they?
Can you, I'm trying to elaborate though, if we want to put it from the perspective of the out-of-towners now. How does that movie look like?
I guess it, these people all they take a wrong turn.
Yep.
Proverbial wrong turn.
Well, first, who takes a wrong turn, there's some carabiners who take a first wrong turn. That's an unseen off-screen wrong turn.
That's right. Yeah, the rock climbers.
Yeah. So they die.
What do you think this movie is really about? Is it about society?
I think we'll get there in the end, Tim.
Okay, good.
But I'm glad you posed that as a jumping off point.
Yeah. Okay.
Wrong turn is really about society.
It's a story about people getting into a little bit of trouble with the wrong crowd.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and
it's a it's like a standard.
As far as the plotting though, it's not actually a lot happens because basically
Nothing
it's
happens.
Like dude takes a wrong turn, meets other people who took a wrong turn, and they're all stopped because of these hillbillies.
The flat tire thing,
who
right?
gave them flat tires.
Yeah. The barbed wire.
They go to the hillbillies' house. The hillbillies find them. There's a fracas. They escape. They run around.
Well, they realize that the hillbillies are the ones who are causing the flat tires and are like, they find all the, body parts and such in the fridge. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty much, that's our not that we didn't know where it was going, but that's the sort of turn.
Yeah.
Of like, okay, now they're in trouble.
Still not a lot though, because it's like they go
but after that, yeah, it's just to like come get us.
They go to the car graveyard,
right?
And then from there they drive away and get stopped by a log.
Right. they're in a tow truck and they can't sort it out.
Right. And then from there they go up a tree, the woods.
Yeah, up into the tower.
They go up into a tower and then
they're in the trees.
Go into a cave, get a good night's sleep, the 2 surviving ones.
Oh, wait. Do they do that after the trees?
Yeah.
Or before the trees?
Because what's-her-face dies.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got...
Once it's down to 2...
once
it's down
house,
to 3.
Car graveyard, woods, tower,
it's
trees, waterfall.
Yeah.
And then what's the end? Oh, back to the house.
Yeah. After road.
Oh, yeah. Briefly on the road.
Anyway, that's enough
Very
of that.
briefly.
How would we rate it?
Oh, man. I'm an avoid. I'm sorry. It sucks. I just can't. I felt like I was watching. I mean, if you're. Oh, I don't know. If you're. Maybe not. I don't want to watch it. I was so mad because when you pulled it, for some reason, I thought that in my brain, I thought of the movie Joyride with Steve Zahn and Paul Walker and oh fuck, the girl's name is Lily Sobieski. And I got so excited to watch that movie.
It's not fair and wrong turn though.
And then this turned on and I was like, oh shit. That's this movie. I saw this once and never again. So I think I told myself never again.
When it was Wrong Turn 2, you thought we were watching Joyride 2?
Yes.
This whole time?
I seriously did. Oh my God.
Well, I knew what we were getting into.
Shit. So, God, can I justify a stream here? No, yes. Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah?
All right,
Yeah.
I'll be a stream. I'm a very weak stream.
I mean, where else, to get into what I thought of it, where else can you get this exact film of crazed hillbillies without the ability to speak except for their hillbilly yells, killing people?
The Hills Have Eyes.
Yes, but in a
in a 2000, what was this?
3
context
with Eliza Dushku.
Fine. You got
all
me.
those elements. So this is what we tell ourselves now, because I had to sort this out and to clarify, because technically I did own this film up till about 2 weeks ago when I got rid of all my DVDs. This was in my DVD collection.
Why? What possessed you to get rid of a DVD collection?
Space, not watching them anymore at all.
Yeah. But did you save them digitally in any way?
No, because if I watched it again, I would want to watch it in HD.
Yeah. Oh, well, okay, I get that. Yeah, that makes sense. Sort of like when I just turned on War of the Worlds and was like, holy shit, why does this look so bad?
Right. I'm like, well, it's a DVD. Yeah, you're missing out on the special
shocking.
features, and there's something fun to DVDs, but that trade-off wasn't worth the space. And it kind of stunk because, like, here's your PSA for the day, folks. 90. I went with. I had so many DVDs, and I was expecting to get at least something back from Amoeba for them, but 90% of them they couldn't pay for because I had transferred them to a slip sleeve, like a giant binder thing, and when it's in there, something about the ring, the edge of the DVD ring, just when it's in there. Something gets stuck on there or messes it up in a little way.
Oh, man.
So, 90% of my DVDs they weren't able to give me anything for. I was pretty,
That's crazy.
Bummed about that.
Wow.
So, yeah, keep them in the cases if you're actually looking to, want to keep them in good condition.
Damn. Good to know. I just don't.
I was so excited when it's I'm just going to finally just transfer them all when I'm moving to this. Anyways, that's your PSA for the day. So, so sorry, my rating. So even though, it's do I say own it or buy it because I did buy it? No, right now in my life, I have to demote it one level to rent it.
I can't believe you.
Because I still love things about this stupid movie.
Oh, well, at least you acknowledge that.
I love things about this brilliant film that's a commentary on society just in general. You said.
I'm going to toot my own horn here for 1 second. I realize who Eliza Dushku reminds me of a little bit. She looks kind of like a girl I dated very briefly. Yay.
Well, good for you and your horn.
Yep. That girl ended up using me to get back with her ex-boyfriend. I was like, oh, okay, I get it.
Well,
bye.
You had that.
Yep.
So should we get into what worked?
Yeah.
What worked for you? What worked for you?
It worked like a charm, Smith.
What worked? What worked for you?
I think you should keep in the final product of this episode my commentary on a girl I dated once for 10 days.
Sure. All right, per request. There it is, Tim. So, as I just said, I actually love things about this stupid movie.
I don't...
And you're going to have to...
I get it, but I don't get it. So you better explain.
So I don't know if I can pitch it effectively because I admittedly, it's wrapped up quite heavily in nostalgia for me. Mm-hmm. Like this out of going to see sort of like actually so many stupid horror movies of the aughts during high school, the early mid aughts, like, you know, Darkness Falls and just all these other, you know, things that were just like fear.com.com. All of a sudden,
Joyride, Jeepers Creepers, like that was all that same era, right?
Yeah, so good ones. But another one that we went and saw just because the premise.
Get crazy. The Jeepers Creepers isn't good.
And Wrong Turn, we went and saw. And you know what? There's just something about it. It was just the premise itself. Eliza Dushku, Jeremy Sisto.
The premise.
Yeah, the premise itself. Just so what I actually love about this movie, like just to sort of get into it, anytime the hillbillies are doing anything or making any kind of sound, like they have their just doing things default sounds, and then when they're talking to each other,
yeah,
you know,
I don't even get what, like, who came up with that even as an idea?
That's what's so good about.
I don't get it.
And then when they, and like amidst that, they also have their war howls when it's like,
oh yeah,
remind me of Swamp.
Okay, like I don't even understand like what to take away from that. Like, what's the logic of them being the way they are?
So,
because they're like they're really more like, in my mind, they're more like cavemen.
Well, it's the sort of, it's their take. Like in the trailer, you folks weren't able to read it, but in the trailer, there are all these texts coming up saying, like, trying to set up this film as if, I guess it is a legend of sorts where there's people who are multi generations of inbreds. And what does that look like? You know, what happens to someone when that happens? What do they look like?
I guess.
So this is these filmmakers' response to that what if. But to bring up, which I was going to try to save for the things of note, but I have access. I have the script downloaded of this. The screenplay.
Oh my god! Oh man, I would love to read this.
Right, and a little insight into, you were asking like where they came up with like them talking and what they're like cavemen. So on page 74, it reads, "A guttural hillbilly cry rises from somewhere below, a cross between a laugh and a dare." So
I am utterly speechless.
Yes. So,
Alan, you son of a bitch. We need to talk. Hey, he's from Cleveland. Alan B. McElroy.
So I mean, and so those are the generics. So I love just about the hillbillies and their sounds and their doings. But like specifically the skinny hillbilly one, Doobie Doo.
Did you look up? Does he have a real, like, he must have a name, right?
There's Sawtooth. Oh, he's Three Finger.
Okay.
There's Three Finger, Sawtooth, and One Eye are the three hillbillies.
Julian Richings is his name.
So I kind of love the whole
Three Finger.
I kind of love the whole tree sequence from when they jump out and we were just like, what the hell? They're like jumping out of this tree and just land. I'm like, yeah, Tim, the branches are breaking their fall. You're like, no.
Oh, it hurts me so much. I'm just going to have to not say anything until we get to things that didn't work.
But it's just like, you have this guy, we'll call him Mr. Serious, who's making the same face the whole movie. It starts with like Mr.
It's Desmond Harrington is his name.
Mr. Serious.
He's our guy from Ghost Ship.
Yeah, the guy from Ghost Ship, who's Mr. Serious then too. Mr. Serious jumps out of this tower down on the 3. He's like, here we go. Just that face, just with the same expression jumping off. There's something just so hilarious. Face? Yeah, that one. Something so hilarious to me and satisfying about just it's the same face dude jumping out onto trees. And then we have Eliza Dushku doing it too, which is great.
Oh, and what's the third girl? The third,
and her too,
McCryerson.
Yeah.
There's something about the way that they jump too.
Yeah,
that is just it's so hilarious.
Great. Yes.
Because I mean, you know what it is? It's like if you just step back for a second, you realize that they're 3 feet off the ground in reality, and the camera is on. Well, so they're 5 feet off the ground. There's a 2 foot like mattress pad under the camera, which is on the ground, right? Like, yeah, and they're jumping onto this mat, and they do it in such a way that really just looks so unnatural.
Right.
They know, I don't know how to even explain it. It's like if you jumped onto your bed.
But it's like you have the shots of these stunt people just like hurtling down through these branches, though. It's kind of amazing.
They're flinging around and like miraculously catching themselves by one hand.
But it's like
it's hilarious.
It shows it happen. They don't skirt around. How do they actually grab onto the branches? They show them land on the thicker branches. I think it's great.
God. You know what? Speaking of branches, there's a hilariously fucking good shot, and I mean good in whatever, not really good, but hilariously funny shot of when they're in the truck driving down the road, and clearly they're not really moving.
Oh yeah.
And somebody is just off camera with like a pine tree branch hitting the side of the car to make it look like they're going through the
that's
forest.
That's what I kind of love about this movie as a whole. It's got this low techness still that like this was sort of a last hurrah of like.
But don't you feel like it's such a weird mix?
Well, yeah, because the filmmakers are kind of. I mean, excuse me, but they're kind of like terrible. But at the same time, here's what it is that's so fascinating. What I like about it is like I keep thinking, I was like, God, why do they do this? Why do this? But then I remember, so they're working with these kind of incredible constraints where what I respect and like about it is they actually still went out to this forest and like on trees and stuff like that to shoot this movie. So you want to think though, like, okay, yeah, but when it's a filmmaker who, someone we become an actual fan of, you see them working with those constraints and being really creative and it sort of being a mode of inspiration with those constraints. Mm-hmm. Yet here it's like they just evolve into whatever the most generic thing is, which is, this sounds like things that didn't work. And I'll probably say that again there. But what I'm trying to bring it back to is there's this sort of like endearing fascination on my part of seeing their take on, okay, so in the script here, we got this scene where these people have to fight off hillbillies like 100 feet above ground in these trees. And then I can just imagine them all like, they figured it out. And in doing so, I think they achieved just in their sheer, just how do we get it doneness, just what I, like this is another film geek term. Pure cinema, Tim. 7 seconds of pure cinema where just movies don't get any better than the 7-second sequence of the skinny hillbilly in the tree who's about to get hit and he's making faces at them, is going...
Yep.
Like that guy's performance is bringing it all together. Just like movies aren't any better than that hillbilly making that sound.
You mean 3 fingers?
Yeah, 3 fingers. Sorry. And then...
Don't malign hillbillies. They have names too.
Right. 3 finger. He's making the noises, faces. And then like when he gets hit by the tree branch that they're holding back, it's like they get the shot of him falling backwards and screaming. And it's just more of just pure cinema, Tim. It's just incredible. Like I'm honestly thrilled
at how much you like this.
It's that scene.
it's really hard for me to find things that like actually worked, but there are shots that the best way I can describe it, well, there's two ways to describe it. You've seen this style of shot before in 70s like slasher slash what's the something at Black Rock or the I can't remember what it is, but it's got sort of it's a lot of long shots. And you can see the film grain and there's sort of atmosphere.
Yeah, when it's like super telephoto.
Yeah, exactly. And they use that like 2 or 3 times just in single shots, right? And then they cut back to the way the rest of the movie is filmed, which is quite clean. But those shots, I'm like, I like those. They have a very specific feel to them.
Those actually feel like Deliverance.
That's right. And I'm like, fuck, I wish this whole movie was that. Like if it had all had that kind of style, I think it would have benefited the movie. You may disagree.
Because I would prefer, see, that for me is like the Hills Have Eyes remake and the original Hill Have Eyes. They're well done enough that like, you want to take them seriously and that you get involved. But for like the kind of performances that these hillbillies give, as well as the main characters, there's an appeal to it that wouldn't be served. Serious? Yeah, it would. With better filmmaking, it wouldn't serve. It wouldn't best bring out, I think, what is working about these film for me.
I guess I get
so weird.
Wow.
Like, you know, it does. I love it is stupid, but I love the kind of stupid it is. Like, it elicits when we're watching it. We're just constantly going like, what? Huh? Well, why are they doing that?
No kidding.
You know, it's so dumb, but it's what I love about that is has its consistent level of its own inner logic that to me is just so it's kind of fun to like tune into and observe and be fascinated by and just kind of like it's your own like form of improvisation. You can't predict what's going to happen next because like the song is something you just don't understand, is so foreign to you.
Oh my god, I don't know, it's tough. Even like you were saying, Jeremy Sisto, like you like Jeremy Sisto, you like Eliza Dushku. Sisto has virtually nothing to do in this movie.
Well, it's like
that bums me out.
They gave him that one good. Kind of like
when he's walking along the trail.
Just ramble about what was he rambling about?
The wedding and like eloping and all that shit.
He was rambling about their choice of their cover band and how you wouldn't want to have a James Brown cover band, but you would want to have a Frank Sinatra cover band. Shit, and he just went on this rant about it. And it's like, just let Jeremy Sisto be Jeremy Sisto. Go. And it's like, you can tell like what he's doing. It's that same thing where it's like, it's great, but it's terrible.
Yeah. Okay. So actual things that I like in this movie. I like Jeremy Sisto. I like the deaths.
Yes. So especially the last 3 were my favorite.
So let's see if we can get through them because there's only like 7 people.
Well, the ones that open the movie that's off screen the body, like the dripping blood onto the girl.
Yeah, I actually think it's really funny when she's looking up. He's obviously been like grabbed. You hear the noise off screen of him being grabbed and going. Ugh.
Yeah.
And then when she's looking up and she's like, come on, like help, like pull me up or whatever. And his body sort of flops over the edge and it just looks great. And it's exactly what it should be, right?
Yeah.
I like that. I like him getting tossed down.
And then however she dies and then
she cuts herself loose, which is crazy, but okay, I get it. Because she doesn't want to get pulled up to where he got killed.
And then how did the other couple?
Then the other couple, we don't see the dude with the fucking the dumbest glasses of all time.
Right.
They're like clear, whatever. They're just hilarious glasses. I couldn't get over them.
Sunglasses, right?
I guess, but they're like clear anyway, but whatever. So we don't see him die. So
we see his ear.
Yeah, he got his ear cut off, but we have no idea how he died. He just gets taken. The girl gets the razor blade wire through the mouth.
Yep.
That one's pretty good.
That was pretty good.
And also subsequently her getting chopped up is pretty good.
Yeah.
Who's next? That's Jeremy Sisto's next, right? He gets the arrows through the chest.
Oh, right. He was Yeah.
So then we're left.
I loved that one because it's
I like that. That one actually was really effective because you're getting that like, oh shit,
right.
he might get away.
I just want to emphasize, we'll continue with the deaths here, that on top of everything I just was trying to say about what I loved of this film, it was just the deaths too that captured us back then and still get me now, especially these last three. So the Jeremy Sisto one.
And they do a double foreshadow with the arrows, right? So
he gets shot 3 times in the back, too.
Yeah, so Eliza Dushku in the house takes very clear note of the quill of arrows on the wall. And then when they're being chased, we see one of the hillbillies has those arrows. And I love how there's it's coming back around.
Super good shot, too, because what else are they doing out there?
Well, they're shit, right? They better be good at what they do.
Yeah.
And so, I really like him. I like how it's filmed, too, because I think a lot of the time you would get a shot of the arrow going in, or at least the arrow like flying through the air, or like being let loose from the bow.
They actually play they play the moment as sort of intended well, of where it's like we can't see the arrows hitting him, so they're like, "Why are you stopped? What are you doing? What's wrong with you?"
And we know, like, right, like I think we're all smart enough to know,
and that's the fun of it.
But I really do. I think it's really effective. They don't have it like come through his chest first.
Yeah, it's the last one.
Yeah. I quite like that death.
And the effects look good.
Yeah. Well, Stan Winston, fuck yeah. So, then we have, I guess the next one is
the axe in the tree.
Yeah.
Which is, like, I think a classic, like, it's just up there in horror movie deaths, to be honest. It's such a specific situation.
So early aughts.
Yeah.
They fucking, I think we've said this before, but God, did they love, like, slicing things. You know what I mean? Like digitally or not. Just having an axe or a sword or whatever, like cut somebody's head in half or body in half or whatever.
It was so great because it's like I feel like it's been done since or been done before, where you have the half decapitation against a wall, so it's like the bottom part falls and the top part's still there. So this was that in itself done so well in the tree, but then had the added bonus because it was high up in a tree. You got the body fall down separate just to have that extra.
Yep. And then the hillbillies deaths, which are
none of them die.
Not really deaths.
No, none of them die. So the next one is
the cop.
Yeah, oh my God. So I have this down because you have to imagine Tim seeing this in a pre-Jeremy Saulnier surprise kill era. Do you know what I mean by that? The filmmaker who did like Blue Ruin and Green Room.
Oh yeah,
like
I love him.
Like a thing with him is that he knows exactly when it's unexpected to do those kills.
Yeah,
this was a sort of early incarnation of a kind of successful moment in that thing of like a cop. It's still back when it's like, oh, the cop's supposed to save us days. And
I would love to go back just film history-wise, because that trope of the cop showing up and like the savior, sort of like possible savior showing up and then like getting killed is such a pervasive trope.
Right, but not
like
he usually
when did it start
killed,
happening?
At this point when it came out, he usually wouldn't have gotten killed quite so soon. That was so effective about it.
Yeah, I could see that.
And so I just remember, and back then and still now, when he gets hit and it's right in the eye, you just go, "Oh, it's so cool." The kills are in this movie are so good.
Yeah, I think that, like we said, is a testament to. It seems, what it seems to me a little bit, because Stan Winston produced this as well. It feels to me like they sort of said, "Hey, does anybody have a script laying around that we can just fucking have our way with, where we can just play around and try a bunch of fun things?"
Yeah.
And this script kind of allows that, because it's pretty bare. There's not a whole, I would almost wonder, did you read the script? Like you read it top to bottom? So in the script, does it specify the locations? Like, is it really laid out of like the progression of where they go, or was that added?
It's actually different.
Okay, so
in one instance, like you could tell they were working with what they've got.
Yeah.
in reality.
Oh, okay. So they, they had leeway and, I think they took a script where they could be like, ooh, cool. Like, what can we do with this wood scene? Oh, let's put them up in the trees or whatever. You know what I mean?
That's all in there. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it's enticing, I think, from a special effects point of view to be like, ooh, cool. How are we going to do this? And like these set pieces allow us to kind of play around and do some fun shit. And like just design wise, like how do we design scary hillbillies is like it's a practice in just experimentation with how do we make this look cool and these kills, right? So everything is sort of, I think it seems like it's through the lens of like, a Stan Winston being like, let's just fucking have some fun, dude.
Yeah.
This is what we do. Like, we're good at it. Let's just fuck the story. Who gives a shit? Let's just make a fun, crazy special effects, mostly practical effect movie.
Right. I mean, and
because like how much CGI do you think
there's no
is
even
in
necessary like F the story because I think it's exactly
That's
what
I
it
mean.
should be. There's
yeah. It's a non-issue. They're just like, yeah, we can do whatever we want.
I wouldn't want this film
because of the script.
I wouldn't want this film to be anything more.
So yeah, I mean, I think all those things kind of from that perspective are great.
I mean, I already said this, but just to say again, like, just I think how Mr. Serious jumping out onto the trees. I just love. I mean, I didn't phrase it this way earlier. That's why I wanted to say it again. Just how ridiculous is it when he's how he's literally making the same face the whole film. I love that. That worked for me. How ridiculous that is.
I think we're looking at it the wrong way. I think we're looking at it like he's incapable of emoting or like being what we would consider, having, variation in his in his persona and acting like what he's giving out there. But I would argue that it's a testament to how dedicated he is as an actor to maintaining one face in all circumstances.
Well, it's certainly a performance choice that he did for another film.
He was good in Dexter.
So does he make more than that face?
Probably not. I feel bad for him because as somebody, as we've talked about, again, who really values their hair and the sadness of its inevitable loss, this dude went bald early. And you can tell that he's in that like phase in this movie in particular where they're really trying, like the hair people are trying so hard to cover it up.
Give him some character if he was losing his hair. He'd show some faces.
Yeah. Well, eventually on Dexter, I think he's just got a shaved head and he looks fucking fine.
Yeah.
It's like, damn. Anyway, but I like Desmond. I feel kind of
I
like,
do too.
I don't
sorry,
I don't want to shit on him, but
on you, Desmond.
I think he's an interesting dude. But I think
there's something strangely like engrossing about just that he has. I mean, about him, despite his same face, you know, like because what it is with that face, it's like addictingly, utterly steadfast in whatever is going on. Like it's almost refreshing to have someone who doesn't have to like think anything through at any point. At all ever. We're just on this Mr. Serious's ride here, you know?
Serious. He's got a name too. His name's Chris Flynn, and your favorite part of the whole movie.
Right.
You mentioned before we even started it.
What was it, Tim?
It was that when he's introduced, he's like, "Hi, I'm Chris Flynn," and Eliza Dushku is like, "Well, hello, Chris Flynn." She like repeats his full name back to him.
Always stuck with me. It was in the script.
Oh man! So
I love that there was the gas station attendant who comes back
classic.
At the end. Right, it's
drinking the Pepto-Bismol.
You know that guy's probably still there and is like, "Yeah, I did a movie." I loved him, and I just love the fact that he was in this film.
He's Wayne Robson. A Canadian television, stage, voice, and film actor.
Oh, so maybe he's more of an actor than...
He's Canadian, though.
Okay. Well, this film was shot in Canada, yeah. Takes place in West Virginia, shot in Canada.
Is there anything else?
I'm pretty good.
You know what? Here's the one moment that I really like is the we're in the cabin or the house or whatever, and they have to hide.
Oh yeah.
And they get under the bed, and there's a whole couple sequences of things that like they might get found out, like the blood is dripping toward the dropping of the body right in front of them. Great, you know. Then the blood dripping towards them, which I sort of thought to myself, you don't need to get out of the way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's sort of this sense of like, oh, if the blood touches you, it's a problem.
The blood one wasn't so much threatening risking getting caught. It was just, I don't want it to touch me. Ew, blood.
Right.
My friend's blood.
Right. Yeah. And then the shell casing dropping. And
that was
the guy
so good.
down.
I was cracking up
that.
during that.
It's so funny.
Yeah, it's where one of the hillbillies drops a shotgun shell right next to them, hiding under the bed.
And he has to kind of move just a little bit to not get touched.
And of course, he is just hitting it all around and can't find it.
Oh man, yeah. So I like that. That's
how
fun.
much they played it up. I love that.
And Desmond having to grab the squeaky spring of the door.
Yeah,
like that's a great gag. It didn't quite logically make sense.
Was it so intense it would make him bleed?
Yeah,
like
that part I didn't get, but I love because we all know the sound that door makes.
Yeah.
That's a fucking great little set piece. Because Actually,
you know what? You remind me of another thing in the sequence everyone's gone through the door and he's the last one to go in through the door, Mr. Serious. Speak now or forever hold my peace, Ryan. I can now say something I just loved was then when it cuts to the hillbilly. Like he's looking at him like he's just woken up, and it's before
he hasn't moved.
Yeah, it's before he has no expression. It's not like he's like, he's just literally just woken up, and it's just his
eyes open.
It must be
is it one
eye? Yeah. One eye's looking at him with his one eye, and we just go,
God.
Ah!
It's so good.
And then off they go in their truck.
Yep. Oh my God. And Doobie, the Three Finger, is so fast, he chases after that truck and stays with him for quite a while.
Yeah.
I think that's it for me, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, all right, let's do what did not work.
It's not ready yet.
Seems to work okay.
No, something important's missing.
What did not work?
So, as much as you or anybody or myself is endeared to Eliza Dushku, she sucks in the first, 20 minutes of this movie. There is so much acting going on. I'd forgotten, that, I don't know, there's something about her
hey, Chris Flynn.
Her thing. The thing that she's doing is a thing.
Yep.
And it actually made me kind of go, oh, no, stop doing that, because I like you.
In the script, it's just an overt tough girl, and that's what
she's playing tough girl, and I wish she wasn't, because I think she just naturally, just let her be herself, that would come out. That's part of who she is. So she didn't need to put anything on it, and it kind of bummed me out.
She as a person is really likable, and it's funny that I think what is probably just that she was Mrs. Serious in a way, Miss Serious. She kind of also made the same expression. Both of them were so serious together, except she made jokes.
Right.
But still with a serious face.
Yeah.
And then she has the one scene where she offers up what she's doing there, and her boyfriend broke up with her.
Oh, poor her.
So some emotion there.
Eliza Dushku should not, I have a hard time feeling sympathy for her getting broken up with.
You mean the character?
Yeah. She got broken up with, and to point of fact, another dude literally crashes into her. She can't escape dudes wanting to date her.
Her monologue about getting broken up with was way longer in the script.
What? I bet it was.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay, so some of the acting stuff, I think it's actually a little bit more of writing and kind of how they were told to.
Yeah, because like again, like I could say,
it's on the nose.
That scene with Jeremy Sisto just letting him improvise. It was kind of like
I like that.
Yeah, but at the same time,
it makes
it's also
no sense.
kind of it's also kind of terrible.
Right, like from a script standpoint, I'm like that. The first, I don't know, 10 minutes that we're with that group of characters.
Yeah.
Is just a slog of them talking about fucking nothing that never comes back around and makes no sense, and who gives a shit.
Right.
I mean, it's just like, it is just padding.
This is so hard, Tim, because like, what is there to say when it's just all so stupid? Well, and then what is there to say when it's like, I love that it's also like any little things I have down or what I just said I liked about it. Like,
well, that's the thing though. There's a fine line. I think it's a point of, if you know it's stupid and you can kind of play on that, you can make it fun.
But it'd be different if they're self-aware about it.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that this does a good job of finding the balance of
but
like
I'm saying
leaning into the stupidity
if they were
of it.
self-aware that it was stupid, I wouldn't have enjoyed it the same way.
Oh, really?
Because
See, I feel like...
No, that's what I said.
The fun of some of these horror movies is... I'm not saying that the characters are aware, but the filmmakers are aware.
That's what I remember.
And I feel like it was too, like...
Because that was that, when I remember I said its own inner logic of, like...
Yeah.
A completely different wavelength of just what the F-ness.
Well, and at one point I had said, I was like, I want to make a movie where there's a group of people who are mostly fucking super stupid, but there's at least one or two people that are constantly pointing out how fucking stupid their decisions actually are. And then they can keep doing the dumb things. They could be like, shut the fuck up, you're the dumb one, kind of whatever it is, and keep doing it. I felt like I needed that character, the us character, which you would think Eliza Dushku would kind of be that
but
character,
that would
but she's
be,
not.
then the filmmakers would have to be aware of its overall stupid. Here's the difference. It's like, to make the point again, it's like the difference between The Room, Tommy Wiseau, and anything since then. Like, he can't do stuff and be in on his own joke. You know, The Room he made completely sincere, and that's why it's his love is put into it, but it's also like his weird version of the world. And that's, to me, that's like the wrong turn. Yeah, it's not The Room, but it's also...
It's literally the wrong turn.
But it's like these filmmakers...
I think it poses an interesting question, though, because can the filmmaker and the writer know and be self-referential in how they approach it, but the characters be in that sort of Tommy Wiseau lane? Is that possible? Maybe not.
What do you mean? Like the character? You mean the actors?
No, the characters. I don't know how you would pull that off.
Like, reading the script and seeing what kind of movie it is, it seems to me, maybe this kind of gets into what you're asking, but like, and I've read scripts like this where it's horror movies like this, where it's like you get the sense that the screenwriter is like, okay, this is me. I'm writing a movie like this, like as if they're like, this is how movies are and function, and I am trying to replicate that.
Yeah.
Versus, you know, that distinction I'm trying to get at.
I think so.
And when you approach a script like that with a kind of, you know, seriousness or self-seriousness, then that just sort of brings out the, coupled with that same ideology of like, this is how movies are. We're trying to make it like the music speaks to that and everything, what I'm trying to say, you know, and like, and it's all trying to like replicate something. It becomes this like, I don't know, this snake eating its own tail of a hyper realized non-reality, you know?
Yes, I do know. I think what I'm trying to get at is, I think what you're saying is what happened in this.
Right.
But I'm positing a little bit of like, if you were going to write this movie, but you are actually writing it as a parody of bad movies.
But you could
Can you make this movie good?
I think you could just make the same script, you know?
I know.
with that approach.
Well, that's sort of what I'm saying. Like, can the director come in and be like, it's comedy, but we're going to do the script? Does this movie benefit from that? And is it a better movie? Or is it the way it is? Is it good? Do we like what it is because it doesn't know, like, it, because of what you're saying, that it has this almost self-seriousness?
Honestly, like, if I was given the script to make, I wouldn't know how to do it. You know, I can't key into the wavelength it's written on, because it's like I just see all these sort of, you see these logic holes and stuff when it's just sort of from a,
I'd lose my mind.
Right, from it when it's such a baseline, just nothing makes sense place, yet you have to make sense of it. Like, what do you focus on? Like, what are you translating? Like, I wouldn't know how to do it. So that's what happens when it's just like, though, these people that's like, well, we're making it though, and it's going to become its own thing, and props to them. Like, they got up in that tree and chopped a person in the face. They made what didn't make any sense accordingly not make sense.
You know, it makes me realize, I think part of what's really not working is that this movie is a series of and thens, as opposed to like meanwhiles or but. You know what I mean? Like the sort of reversal structure that you want, that keeps you on your toes.
Yeah.
This doesn't really, I mean, there's kind of almost ones like the but not really.
I think that's what I was trying to get at when I was talking about
just and thens.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get at when I was talking about the plotting. I'm like, not a lot happens. They just go here to there to there to there.
Yeah, and that's a huge problem. And I think just that's a failing of good screenwriting, is that if you're just doing it's just a extended sequence then.
Yeah.
There's no actual story and there's nothing to keep us really engaged other than the set pieces. But even the set pieces within themselves are just a series of and thens. It's like, and then we got to the woods, and then we found a tower, and then we climbed up the tower, and then the hillbillies found us, and then they lit the tower on fire, and then we jumped out of the tower, and then we're in the trees.
So from this as a starting point, and what if you can lock into that specifically not working, how would you, if you were given that and locked into that, how would you improve it from there? What do you add to it?
I mean, they almost do this where it's like in the tower sequence in particular, it's like we get to the tower, we climb the tower. Don't just arbitrarily climb the tower, right? Like, make it so you have to climb the tower. Right, make their get some urgency in there, because that time, like, I'm not sure I would go up into the tower, or maybe even if you would, I'm not sure all of you go into the tower, right? There's this lack of logic there. So chase them up the tower, or like make it so that there's nowhere else to go, like it's a dead end, and they know we can't go back.
But they wanted to go call for help.
I understand, but I'm saying, like, let's add some interesting sort of need in that moment. It's not just, maybe there's a radio.
Yeah, as if coming into that situation, they're like, maybe there's some way we can call for help, or none of our phones are working, so how do we call for help? So that way when they see it, they go, we can call for help there, maybe.
Well, and I guess I'm sort of saying, just like push along the emphasis on desperate choice. Right? Because from a logic standpoint, maybe there's a radio or something up there, or maybe they can see, but like, it's a bad decision to go up there.
Which the film nor the characters acknowledge.
Right. So force them to go, this is our only option.
Yeah.
We got to get up there. So if if there's a cliff right next to them and they're in sort of a, like the quarry, so to speak.
There's no trajectory over the worsening of a situation.
Right. So they go up the tower, right? And it's like, rickety ladder. Like, play with the rickety ladder. Like, do something that can push the story ahead. Like maybe the ladder, like a couple rungs break so that we know when the hillbillies get up there, maybe they can use that to their advantage.
Yeah.
When they get into the thing, there's almost a reversal in that they find the radio, right? And they turn the radio on and they get somebody.
Right.
That's great. But then the radio squawks too loud and it
You
attracts
should give
the
us
guys.
like what ifs to latch on to.
Yeah. So those things, it's like they almost got a couple of them in there, but they don't quite land. So I just think adding sort of logic would force you to create reversal situations where you're like, oh, sweet, they're going to get out of this, but this happened, so they have to change their tactic, and that causes a bigger problem for them. But there's a solution over there because the rungs of the ladder broke. But you know what I mean? Like if you keep going down that pathway, I think that it's more interesting as a sequence to watch, and you get behind the characters and you get this push-pull. But without it, you just sit there going, okay, you're going to jump out the window?
Yeah.
Okay. Like I guess that's an
There's
okay
no
option.
like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, like yeah, exactly. There's nobody going,
we are, but
that's fucking stupid. In fact, they go so far as when she smashes the window and she's like, I'd rather jump out of here than burn alive, and fucking Mr. Serious goes, yeah, she's got a point. And it's like, well, that we don't even have a scene.
right.
There's no fucking, the conflict is just the circumstance. It's like, no, the characters need to have conflict with each other and with the choices they make, not just the fact that they're being chased. So to me, from a writing standpoint, honing in on those and actually getting into that is exciting. Like find some fucking shit to get into, but they're like, nah, don't worry about it. Let's just get to the next sequence.
Right.
Boo. But at least you had Doobie fucking howling.
Yeah.
So
I know that made up for everything. But again, it's like you say all that, but then like if
I want to make a better movie.
Right. But no. I'm sorry. You say all that, but I would not take back the experience of how much fun it was watching that with you and yelling at them for nothing of this makes sense.
Now that's true. And I think that's a little bit kind of what I was sort of getting at, I guess, where it's like, if you know that this is if you're making a movie where the characters are fucking so dumb, can you make that movie knowing that you know?
No, because then it wouldn't be, I mean, yes, but as far as then our experience watching it, it wouldn't be fun because we aren't yelling at this illogic. We're just sort of, we're just sort of laughing at us being, I don't know, man.
Yeah. I it's an interesting.
Well, it sort
paradox.
of gets me thinking, like, for
the value in the shittiness,
right? Like things I have down, like when I say like I had this in what did not work, how the fact that it plays it as when they fall asleep in the cave together, that like there's like a hillbilly all of a sudden just like slashing out of nowhere, and they both wake up as if they had the same dream, like were woken from the same nightmare. I'm like, what? But then so I had that in what didn't work, but now it's like then and now I'm like, yeah, but I love that. Like that illogic and what everything I said before. And it made me sort of think maybe this is kind of in summation that for a slasher film, I kind of want it to be at this like thrown together like logic level. There's
always the excitement of the like, what are you doing? Don't go down there.
Scream Art is the smart slasher. There's an example that maybe helps in the sort of what if distinction.
Mm-hmm. It knows
of actually being with the characters. You're with the film. You're with the filmmakers. Everything's smart about it, but it's different watching. Like I loved Scream 4 and rewatched the original Scream and thought it held up. But it's like it's a different appeal watching that and the Friday the 13th and Wrong Turn in this case, you know.
Yeah, but where does this movie live in your life?
And what does that mean?
What I mean is...
It has a very special place. I have my movie stub saved.
Jesus. What I mean is, where in your life do you put this movie back on and, like, revel in it? Do you?
Yeah,
you know
when I have a horror movie podcast.
No. You can't use that. That doesn't count.
I mean, probably I could see putting it on like with my friends I discovered it with when we're like in our 50s, you know, just cuz.
No, I think that's valid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, the nostalgia aspect, though.
Right. Do you have more stuff?
No,
I do.
And what did not work? I mean,
it's stupid.
What?
I wouldn't even get into fucking continuity on this movie. It's not worth it. But I love it is so of this time period, and it's something that always has bothered me, even when I was in the acting world and I would go to a set. In particular, commercials do this. The wardrobe on certain films it's all brand new shit, right? It's like the wardrobe department went out and bought, you know, brand new packaged Hanes t-shirts. Mm-hmm. And they pull them out and they say, here's your costume. And I kind of am like, well, this ain't a costume. It's like my character didn't just pull this off the fucking rack at Target. You know what I mean? So, and it shows, it's so obvious, like when you see that, and it sucks. I just think it's a lazy fucking thing. Like, have people have wardrobe that is lived in, that real people would wear, not this fucking
just like one more person out in the woods.
That blue halter top thing or whatever that the Jeremy Sisto's fiance is wearing stays pristinely clean throughout. You know, even though they're rolling around and, you know, running through the woods and shit.
Right. It's funny. No, I did just say sarcastically, kind of like, oh yeah, have one more person out in the woods. Like, yeah, but it's a small budget thing. No, actually, no, this was like a big budget. They have, I'm sure, a costumer and costume assistant, all that stuff.
100%. That's my problem. It's like whoever was making those decisions was keeping their shit clean.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, fucking no way. And even like Eliza Dushku, she gets a little bit like dirty, but she's wearing a fucking white tank top. And by the end of it, it's got like one smudge and one blood mark on it. Like, that's it. It's like, no, like you got, but that's an important part of us buying in. And when you don't do it, and I just feel like the late 90s and early 2000s were notorious for that shit.
Well, it was like they are having, it's sort of indicative of their whole, not late life crisis of like, how do we keep, I'm trying to tie it to what I was saying earlier, but as how I said, it was a certain end of a certain mode of filmmaking and filmmaking era. We're now to sort of like do this again. We had to sort of bring back a sort of grit and realism to it, where you would have to have the clothes be more lived in. But this comes from a time where it's like, oh, all these people, the pretty people we're putting in our horror movies, got to have the makeup and look good, and the clothes,
like their skin is fucking perfect.
So you could see them having this kind of crisis of something when it's like, so how clean should the shirt be here?
I don't know. I just took it out of the laundry, so I guess it's really clean.
Yeah. Well, I want you need her to look good, and it shouldn't be that dirty because it's this kind of horror movie. Well, what is this kind of horror movie? And their brain explodes. And that's what this movie is. It's just these people's brains exploding. All over film.
And I think actually, kind of back to the long lens gritty shots. There's so few of them, but they exist.
They didn't do that out of stylistic choice, though.
I think the director probably was like, God, I just want to get something that's homage-y in there.
No, I think they were like, okay, we just need them climbing down these rocks over here. We don't need to hear what they're saying. Mm-hmm. Got it. We don't want to fucking bring this camera rig over there. Okay, just put a long lens on it.
Sure.
That's all it is. I'm telling you.
Well, I think what it does is it points out when you cut back to the rest of the filming how way over clean even the filming, like the film, there's no film grit, like it's not a gritty movie at all, which kind of belies the movie.
Well, also like
right?
the end of a certain era can be, you know, represented in it's the pre-digital when film sort of, because film was always working to get less and less grainy and better in that sense. So this reached the cleanest looking film can get.
Yeah, for a movie that's set out in the middle of the fucking woods and should be dirty and the hillbillies are disgusting and dirty. It's like that to me is just like, why make it clean? Why?
Because that is, again, that's that wrestling act that I think they were caught up in.
Definitely.
We gotta put in these blue lights everywhere.
Kind of bummed me out.
All right, things of note.
Yeah.
Things of note!
This should be interesting.
Well,
The opening montage, do you think that if the people in the photos were still alive, how do you think they would feel? The real life.
oh my God, the actual deformed yeah.
I mean, because we have yet to mention.
There is a little exploitation in this,
I wanted to
let's be
say,
honest.
I wanted to say for the things of note, save it for this, like how entirely, like there was no.
Oh God, that just cracked my brain open.
Right?
What we just said about things being clean and everybody needing to look perfect in the face of quote unquote ugly, deformed, inbred people is such a commentary on like how society fucking was at that time.
There you go, Tim. You did it.
I did it. We did it. We pulled it all back around. This movie has meaning.
No, yeah, because it was the end of an era of like
the late 90s,
trying to
early
make people
2000s.
clean, but we also have to acknowledge that there's physically, what would you call them? Yeah.
Yeah. Deformed or
physical deformities.
Just people who are other or different.
Mm-hmm. I know we try to keep them under wraps for so long.
Yeah. And they're fighting back and they kind of win.
Yeah.
Kind of.
And maybe that's the sort of catharsis behind these films, why it is great and why there's 8 of them, is like getting to see the hillbillies fight back against these.
Well, that's what I wonder about how this is going to go, because I think that's part of why Friday the 13th is so pleasurable. Like, not the first one or even the second one too much, but
once it gets to actual Jason.
The rest of the Jason ones, it's really just an exercise in us taking pleasure in watching Jason kill these stereotypes.
Well,
right?
It's stereotypes who emblemize sort of like the perfection and carefreeness of youth.
Right. Exactly. And so like the first 2 kills of Wrong Turn, the couple, the redhead and the glasses dude, I was cool with in a way, because I was like, God, they're intolerable, these 2 fucks. And so in that sense, it is working for that. Uh-huh. But the rest of the movie doesn't quite go there, so maybe the sequels do. Fuck, I can't believe we're going to watch the sequels ever. Oh, man. But it is, I mean, this is post 9/11, right? Like, the script maybe wasn't written. I mean, I actually bet the script was written pre 9/11.
Let's see, I have the script right here. It was written, May of 2002 was this draft.
Interesting. So they were, they're probably working on it right around there. So, yeah, just kind of thinking about what was happening in the world and the zeitgeist of things, and at that time, I don't know. I think it'd be a reach to dig too deep into, but it's saying something about what is scary to us, mm-hmm. And at the minimum, like most horror, it's the other. It's the thing that's different than us. The thing that we don't understand or that we demonize.
Physical deformities.
Right. And in this case. But like, I think Us is sort of the highest other end of commentary on that in a good way. Like, it's pointing at all of that. It's pointing at history of doing that. Right. And kind of turning it around.
On inequality, that one.
Right. But it's, in a weird way, it's sort of saying there is no other. Mm-hmm. It's us.
Which is why this is always scary. It's like, we could be those physically deformed people.
That's right. It's like that Twilight Zone episode, the one with the doctors and they're.
Oh yeah,
I forget what it's called, but I've watched it a bunch of times. It's awesome, and they take off their masks and they're all fucking pig faced.
Yeah, but it's just like, it's just so funny imagining these filmmakers where it's like any sort of concern about whether this could or would be offensive, I think wasn't even thought of or brought. Yeah, exactly.
No way did that exist. In 2002, when they were making this movie, that did not even occur to anybody.
Well, these people, yeah, especially too. Like I think that's what's, maybe that's part of I enjoy it. It's horrible, but I mean, maybe it's not. I'm a horrible person, but like I enjoy that kind of naivety. Like it feels so condescending to say, but it's like this childlike view of the world that these filmmakers put out that I can kind of like be fascinated by and go into and have it just like I don't know.
Oh man. Yeah, I wish I could sort of off the top of my head come up with another example that did that we now go, that wasn't okay.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, we're starting to maybe put forward in horror the idea more where we are anyone can be the other. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, Calvert.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. They weren't physical monsters by the way. They were nice at first. They kind of seduce. I mean, there's that whole thing, the kind of the horror film where it's I don't know what I'm saying. Where it's like the people who turn out to be crazy. Mm-hmm. Norman Bates did it first. Yeah,
and the perspective of like what does being crazy even mean? Mm-hmm. And crazy people don't know they're crazy, so it's all fucking relative anyway.
Yes, and that's what's scary.
I just had a weird thought.
Yeah.
Do you think that the capturing of Eliza Dushku, like you had said, there's no female hillbilly. So you think the plan was just like why they didn't kill her right away was just because they need more. But then they'd break the chain of inbreeding, dude.
I think,
and then you'd have a smart hillbilly, and the smart hillbilly would like see the error of their parents' ways.
As soon as they get one half hillbilly daughter, then they can just start over again.
Oh shit, you're right.
Because what do they do with no female hillbillies? They can't just to continue at all.
Yeah, good point. All right.
Horrifying, right?
You solved it for me. Thanks.
God, so horrifying.
All right, cool. Well, good job.
I have the screenplay handy if you did want to hear anything about it or any particular segment you want me to bring up or...
Oh, shit.
Page 17. I'm just taking a random here. Exterior road day. Evan sits on the Xterra's front hood, finishing the last of his joint before pitching the roach to the ground. Francine sits on the warped running board. They're a little high, a little bored. We should have taken her to New York. You know how she loves this outdoor stuff. So far, nature sucks. Well, next time she gets dumped, we'll take her to New York. So... already then they set up some story that we actually didn't get. Those lines weren't in the final version.
Yeah.
That's actually, so maybe to get me, thing of note to pull from, like when I briefly kind of glazed over the script in preparing for this, the sort of a big difference that I thought was interesting was the whole, them hiding out in the waterfall was supposed to be a mine shaft that they hide out in. Huh. And if there was going to be a sex scene, they did the exact thing that we were saying, where it was like, this could be your last day alive, kind of sex scene.
Oh my God.
But you wonder if I wonder if this was maybe they were just like, okay, don't have time for that because we're all in this cave, blah, blah, blah. Or maybe they actually, I will tip my hat to them if they were conscious in cutting it out for the reasons of it would have felt totally out of place for these characters who kind of had like not just no chemistry with each other, but no chemistry with themselves.
You mean the charisma vacuum that is Mr. Serious?
Right.
What was this rated?
But it was funny because probably R.
I can't find it. What the hell?
I don't know. So mine shaft. Oh yeah. So it was but there's some different things about the mine shaft sequence. So no sex scene. Or originally was a sex scene. There was a snake encounter when they first get into it. And so you'd like this, Tim, after Jesse's whole breakup monologue or, about her breaking up, there's the action line in the script. Adam smiles at her sympathetically.
Well, he he's incapable of that.
Yeah, he doesn't. So I think, and that's what was supposed to lead into the sex scene, I think, from that smile. But
like Chris Flynn's name is Adam in the script? Mm-hmm. Wow. Why'd they change that? Chris Flynn is so much more exciting and cool and serious.
Chris Flynn. But that was pretty funny. Once they saw maybe that his character wouldn't smile at this point in the movie after shooting this much, they were just like,
cut it out.
It would just feel a little too, a sex scene. It would feel kind of devoid of like, I don't know, any kind of, he'd feel like how he does in Ghost Ship, where he's a murderer. Like,
yeah, for sure. It is rated R. You're right. Yeah. Well, also, it would feel weird to have him be like, even their flirting felt fucking weird.
Yeah, it was the non-flirting. If they were thought it was based on. Oh yeah, so if and then how how I was ragging on them waking up to the hillbilly in the waterfall. That must have been improvised, because originally it was that at the end they wake up from like they hear at the entrance of a mine shaft the sound of a hillbilly stepping on a mouse and like the hillbilly making a noise.
Okay.
And so that's what just sort of picks up the whole chase again. Because right now in the film, it's like they're just like,
they just wander
we better
off.
get going.
Yeah. Go find a road.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, yeah, like I think I said to you at one point, and of course, yeah, it's almost like you had said, I like suggest, I was like, if this were me, I would do X, Y, and Z, and that would be it. And you were like, yeah, then we'd have no money or movie. And it'd be like, yeah, this whole movie is predicated on you can't do anything logical or else we do not have a movie.
Right.
So...
Or no, but I mean, what have we seen in kind of good, better slasher films or better horror films is they think of just sort of reasons to get them stuck or whatever.
That's right. This doesn't even do that.
Yeah.
So that you don't have this movie.
Okay, Tim, anyway. I got a big thing of note here because I would be remiss not to mention this at all. So humor me, listeners, and Tim Aslan, thank you. But this film inspired what was amongst me and my same friends that we saw this film with. We came up with our own after sort of, in high school, you're always driving each other around and stuff in people's cars. Shotgun, to get the front seat, to shotgun the front seat.
Yeah.
We kept finding that a lot of inconsistencies with that system. People had different sort of, their different sort of take on it. Like
rules.
people, yeah, exactly. So we came up with, and I think I tip my hat to, I think, Ramsey, who just kind of started saying...
You had a friend named Ramsey?
Yeah, I do.
I had a friend named Ramsey, but you pronounce it Rumsey.
Well, Rumsey. Ramsey. I think he just started, like, after we saw the movie, just kind of came, liked saying, just got a kick out of Eliza Dushku in that movie, making the same face, and would just start saying, like, Dushku, like her name, Dushku, and it just sort of caught in our heads. So we came up with our own system of shotgun we still use to this day, called Dushku. And it extended to like when we're all staying at like one of their cabins and like we're getting dibs on the bed, we'll say, oh, I Dushku that bed.
Oh my God.
And like for this large now group of friends, when we all go up to the cabin, we got to follow the Dushku rules whenever we're driving to town. And it's like you...
This is literally the broiest thing I've ever heard you talk about.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it was
the opposite of
the
a
nerdiest
thing. But to call it a doucheku is seems like a thing a frat guy would come up with, and you are not a frat guy. I don't know.
It's weird. That's what I think we are and were. It's idiosyncratic and odd, which is more, sure. I think. But it just, took on its own life that we continued. So, like, for example, some of the rules. So it's like, what happens, Tim, if you and someone else say shotgun at the exact same time? It's a shotgun jinx.
I think we would ham and eggs, which was our, we had a whole thing of, nose goes. I think some people call it nose goes. So it's the first person to touch their nose, but if that was a tie, you had to take a knee.
So you're saying you did have your own system for it?
Oh, we had a whole thing of, we called it ham and eggs. So somebody would be like ham and eggs and it would go nose first. Uh-huh. And if there was any sort of tie or just question of who got it, it was knee. Next, you had to take a knee. And if you were as a tie on that, you'd have to put your thumb on a table.
Okay.
or something. I forget. I think that's what we did. So we had this whole fucking series of things, and you would see it happen too, where it's like somebody would preempt, they just put their finger to their nose, and you wouldn't even know what you were ham and eggsing, but they would put
but
their...
specifically, do you think, okay, did that ever happen in a shotgun jinx situation?
Oh yeah, I'm sure it
cool.
did. Yeah.
So you and your friends did have a similar...
Yeah, we had our own thing.
Something in place. So how about, let's say...
This was with Rumsey.
Let's say someone says shotgun, but forgets something inside and has to go get it.
Right.
Is their previous shotgun negated?
Oh God, I don't know.
So this happened. So no, for our rules of Dushku, it's as soon as you're outside is when you can say it. Also, the driver has to have heard it.
I believe with our shotgun,
or it does not have to hear it.
You had to, the car had to be in sight.
Right.
I believe
that's ours too. No. The car, it can just be outside is the Dushku rule. Like just as long as you get outside.
Yeah, I think we had to see the car and then. Fuck, there was something about like touching the door handle. Mm-hmm. Like you could, if you touched the door handle first. So I think it was that if somebody called shotgun and you took off and you got to the car first and touched the door handle, it negated their shotgun call or something like that. I don't fucking remember.
So our system for when I asked you about the shotgun jinx earlier, what we came up with, if you said Dushku at the same time, which would happen, because it became kind of like a system people knew, is you would then have to say double Dushku. But then if you double Dushku'd at the same time, God, I may be wrong. We aren't driving around forever anymore. Forgive me, guys, if I'm forgetting this. But double Dushku jinx means I'm pretty sure it gets negated to a third member if they're there who wasn't trying to get the Dushku, or it's driver's choice.
Oh, maybe ours was a jinx. If you shotgun jinxed, you had to run and touch the door handle first. Maybe that's what ours was.
Okay.
I don't remember.
So
that's hilarious. So I've forgotten about all this kind of shit.
This among my friends, we became the lawmakers of this. Called it the High Dushku Council members.
Wow.
The ones who
all right. Now we've tipped into nerd.
No, we have scratched the
surface.
So continue to humor me, Tim, okay. And audience. So every, now let's say every 8 years something will come up or so where it's like, well, what, a new thing we hadn't thought of before, or, a new sort of instance that had to be worked out. So may I read an email exchange until you tell me to stop?
Please read it.
Start with this first one from, I'm reading this without permission from my friend Ramsey to myself and Jesse.
I think you should post this unredacted.
Hi, Jesse. Ryan and I hung out on his birthday and ended up in disagreement over interpretation of Dushku law. We require you to weigh in on the matter. The disagreement stems from the use of double Dushku. It comes from an interaction I had with Brendan Lucas. After successfully calling Dushku on Ryan's car, Brendan managed to get me to utter double Dushku at the same time as he did. Common interpretation of Dushku holds that two individuals saying it at the same time results in both being relegated to the back. There you go. That's what happens. So does double Dushku only come into play when two people call Dushku at the same time, i.e. is it a step in the process? Or is double Dushku its own rule that can come into play at any time despite being most commonly used to create a resolution after two people Dushku at the same time? One side contends that double Dushku can only be invoked after two participants call Dushku at the same time. It's a step, not a rule. Thus, there is no legal basis for even considering a wider interpretation of the law. This point of view also lends a moralistic argument in favor of its narrow interpretation, contending that the very nature of getting an individual to utter double Dushku in that manner lends itself to the use of dishonesty to obtain Dushku, which the council member finds to be at odds with the very core of the Dushku system. The main argument for interpretation of the law allowing for invocation of double dushku contends that the law was never clearly defined in the first place. This is a wider reading of the law compared to the strict constructionism of the first interpretation. The thrust of the argument in favor of the new reading of the law maintains that the system should be built to accommodate loopholes and new interpretations. We buy into dushku law precisely because it is a living and breathing system and not something static. This new reading of double dushku would ultimately be a little used variant on the system. There's really no reason to use it other than spite, as it sends both participants to the back. Please advise.
Oh my God. This is literally why I'm not a lawyer.
Right.
That was just almost entirely gibberish to me.
So there's 3 more emails kind of written in this
God.
fashion. But I mean, should I stop, folks, or should I just at least get the response? What do you want?
Holy shit. What's the response?
Okay. I feel like, at least, if we have that set up. So this is now, again, without permission from, read from Jesse Brownstein. Honored High Dushku Council members McNear, McDuffie, and Brownstein. Thank you for bringing this grave matter concerning dushku law to my attention. And although I wish I could advise on this issue in person, I hope this virtual abrogation suffices. To this council member, the Double Dushku Act has historically been interpreted as a step, viz. An invocation subsequent to what shall heretofore be referred to as an occasion of dushku jinx. Common practice, if not common law, suggests that the invocation of double dushku is only applicable upon such occasions of dushku jinx. However, the case of McNear versus Lucas opens up the possibility for reinterpretation and codification of this once arcane dictum. Though Council Member McNear finds a broader interpretation vis-a-vis double dushku to be in opposition to the spirit of dushku law, this Council Member must remind him that deception and dishonesty have always played a necessary, if not encouraged, role in the claiming of allocation of dushku, which is true. Evidenced in the case of the Children versus Abraham, those 2 other friends, 2008, a cabin incident that happened over dushku once. Many underhanded and questionable tactics can be used to acquire dushku. The overriding question here is whether only a dushku jinx necessitates the invocation of double dushku. Our focus, therefore, must be on the word double. Specifically, exactly which dushku is double. The examined assumption has always maintained that the initial simultaneous recitation of dushku by 2 separate individuals is indeed the declarative act of reduplication implied by the double. However, it is possible that this double could refer to a single individual stating dushku twice in succession, i.e. dushku, dushku. Or more pertinent to the case in question, dushku, double dushku. Here, the double anticipates the second resuscitation of dushku, thereby allowing for the invocation of double dushku sans a dushku jinx. Sans. Thus, the ruling of McNear versus Lucas should hold. It is the opinion of this council member, however, that should we choose to reinterpret the Double Dushku Act in this manner, the following stipulation must be made. The individual attempting to inveigle dushku from its rightful claimant can only say dushku, double dushku, and no other variant thereupon. Effectively, no other word but double must separate the 2 spoken dushkus. Otherwise, the double dushku punishment is invalidated. I encourage any further questions or clarifications on this matter. Yours in dushku, Jesse Brownstein, HDC.
Oh my God.
Thank you, everyone. But, I just needed to say dushku. Did you count how many times I said dushku?
No. Fucking 40.
This is Tim. That's what just continually will forever tickle me. As little does Eliza Dushku know.
Ryan, I'm going to tell you a little secret.
Uh-huh.
She knows. The Dushku
so
knows. Her name is Dushku. I'm amazed that she didn't do something else, but good for her. Her middle name's Patricia.
I'm just trying to see. This
just
email
said,
chain goes on.
I'm a Dushku.
I was just trying to sit like if you guys want to know where it what actually ended up coming of it. I don't know. There's a lot more here.
This is a new segment.
Yeah,
Dushku Corner.
Law. Keep you updated if anything changes.
The Court of Dushku.
Yeah, maybe once we get on, that sucks because Dushku doesn't come back in any of the other wrong turns. Anyway, that was my main thing of note. I had Rob, the director, is currently a film professor at Emory University in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah, that's cool. I've heard of that place.
Anything else before we put our bow on Wrong Turn, Tim?
He directed a movie called The Alphabet Killer, which took place in my hometown, Rochester.
There you go.
That's it.
Well, until Wrong Turn 2, which for who knows, maybe we're going to pull it from the hat today. But before we do that, we do RecommenDEADtions.
Oh, yeah.
You go ahead. I've been speaking enough.
So mine is a movie. We didn't put it in the hat. I'm almost certain we did not put it in the hat. But it's one of my kind of more enjoyed favorite-ish horror films of the last, I think it was 2015 or something like that.
What is it?
It's called We Are What We Are.
Oh, yeah. I've been
2013.
I've been recommended that because it's a cannibal movie, right?
Yeah. It is a very slow burn. It's beautiful to look at. It's really dark, like high contrast. It's just got this fucking mood. And it is a super slow burn. I mean, there's a good like hour of it, and it's an hour 45 minutes that is just sort of this slow crawl. But it's so fucking effective, and when things start to really go, it's very satisfying and fucking gnarly.
I've been wanting to see it. Yeah.
I really liked it. I've watched it twice, and it's not that often that I'll watch, a horror movie more than once in like a short period of time, but I watched it twice in like a couple months. And now, like, even just thinking about it, I kind of want to watch it again.
Well, I haven't seen it.
So that's definitely mine. It's got really good performances. One of the girls who's in it, the two daughters, was on what's that called? Ozark, the show Ozark. She plays her character is amazing on that show. So she's great. I don't remember her name, but yeah, that's mine.
I had a different one, but I'll save that one for next week. Because I'm like, I swear I had recommended this before, but it looks like I actually have not, which is I Saw the Devil. Oh. Which, if you're listening, you're like, oh, because it is a great movie. And Tim, I thought
you and I maybe talked about this off.
Right. I had recommended it to you off air, but now I'm recommending it to you so hard, Tim. after watching
so hard.
What was the revenge movie we watched? Last House on the Left.
Yeah.
You got to see this movie, Tim.
I feel like I have.
No, you would know. It's Korean. It's a revenge movie.
I've seen the poster on, like, it was on Netflix or Hulu or one
it's on Shudder. I think you can watch it there.
Yeah, I've seen the poster a million times.
I Saw the Devil. You have to watch it.
Okay, right.
You got
Stop.
to.
Take the knife away from my neck. I'll watch it.
Fine, I'll put the knife away and take out this gun, Tim. You gotta watch out.
Okay, Jesus Christ. I'll do it.
All right. I Saw the Devil. Good.
Cool.
So that's my recommendation.
I get to pull.
Oh, and that was also what reminded me of that was, here's the hat. My friend Jesse, who was one of the emails I read, like him and my two friends who those emails were, they recommended House of the Devil to me originally. No, I just said House of the Devil.
No, I Saw the Devil.
I Saw the Devil.
I like House of the Devil too. It's cool. It's homage-y.
What's it going to be next week? Wrong Turn 2?
No. I'm so excited for this type of thing. It's called Satan's Slaves, and it's on Shudder.
Great.
I love satanic shit.
I wonder if it actually is about satanic stuff. I don't know if I've know of it. Oh, it's an Indonesian horror film. Cool.
Ooh, I bet it's gnarly.
I hope so. Well, we'll find out next week, folks. Where you can find us in the meantime is dismemberinghorror.com.
Yeah, and Dismembering Horror on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And DisHorrorPod on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And dismemberinghorror@gmail.com. If you want to, just send us some emails. Just tell us your life story.
Yeah, tell us what you think of this Dushku law.
That's right.
Which one it should
Somebody
be?
start a Reddit thread.
Yeah.
About Dushku law.
And out of the invocation of double Dushku in that way, you know, as I read earlier. Tell us what side you think you land on. Or recommend a film to us that you want to hear us talk about. Please do that. Well, folks, until next time, thank you for... No. Well, folks, in closing, thanks for listening.
We'll see you next time. Goodbye. Bye.